Technology alone is not enough. It's technology married with the liberal arts, married with the humanities, that yields the results that make our hearts sing. And this is Wright Brennan with Lost in the Midlands, brought to you by C. Wright Roofing. And I am fired up today to be here with a longtime friend, a real professional, an outdoorsman, an industrial engineer, a Clemson Tiger, my buddy Sam Cruz with Redzone. Sam, thanks for coming on today, man.
Thank you. Yeah, excited to be here.
Heck yeah. Now, we talked about what quote we're going to pick to open up your interview, and it is pretty cool that you picked that one from and tell everybody who that is from.
Yeah, that's from Steve Jobs, and it was shortly after, I think, the iPhone, iPad, one of those. But I thought it was a great quote because I love technology and solving problems and kind of the engineering, nerdy side of things. But the quote really kind of emphasizes that it's those just solving problems. You have to have a problem to solve and a solution, and that's going to really be about connecting with people. And if you're not connecting with people, you've kind of lost sight of whatever you're doing.
Yeah, it brings it like down to earth. It makes it like a real human kind of like connection, like just like what you said. Yeah, so that's a beautiful quote, man. All right, let's talk about your beginnings. Columbia, everybody.
Right. Yeah. AC Flora, Forest Acres.
Falcons, baby.
Right.
And you made the decision to attend a in-state school.
Yep. Went to Clemson. Grew up a Clemson fan, and growing up, I had all kind of ideas what I might do one day. But at some point, I knew that I just wanted a good education, and I didn't know much more than that. But I knew Clemson would be a good place to do it because I'd been there a lot. Yeah, and went for it and had a great time.
Heck yeah! And Clemson is it's an engineering focused school, and you have quite a math mind. Is that, would you say that, that kind of started prior to Clemson, or?
Sure. Yeah. I was on the math team at Creighton. I always just enjoyed math. Thought that it made sense to have a answer at the end of a problem, one answer. That always worked out well. Yeah. So like I said, kind of going into high school, I didn't know exactly how I wanted to apply math, but I did know I wanted it to be a big part of my career. Yeah. So, general engineering at Clemson was awesome. They make you go general engineering. I didn't have any specific engineering I wanted to do, but starting off in the general engineering program, I got a little taste of all the different type career paths within engineering, which I've heard people describe as just applying math to real life. Yeah. So that's kind of nice, but found industrial engineering. So had never heard of it before. I remember actually I called my dad and said, hey, there's a whole group of people that are just finding the most efficient ways to do things. He used to say that if I had spent as much time just studying what the teachers told me to do as I was trying to be efficient at just passing the class, then I would have made straight A's. But I spent my time how I did. But industrial engineering, I thought it was great. Got to really learn a lot about industry and kind of the generic, how to apply math and reason different things into general industries.
Yeah. Okay. So when you go into the industrial engineering space, and that's kind of like the direction you're coming out of Clemson, is that you're currently what field? Where are you working now?
So I'm I'd call it the manufacturing. I work for a software company, but our customers are all manufacturers. Okay. So our software is a solution for teams and workforce collaboration, specifically in the manufacturing field. And I've done similar things across a couple companies, Redzone about 6 years. I've also worked in manufacturing sites and worked with another software consulting company. But the kind of common theme there has been teams and technology, teams using technology. And I've kind of found the manufacturing space to be a fun place to implement those. Yeah.
Well, I mean, when you were getting the industrial, is that degree kind of geared specifically for, or is there other applications of that degree?
There are a lot of applications, but the manufacturing is the most, how should we say, just
prevalent,
standard.
Okay.
And it's kind of the easiest that when we're making widgets, it's easy to do math on a widget. And you can spend 4 minutes per widget. Yeah. And the fun part is actually applying that to the people and kind of the industrial psychology side. But instead of that 4 minutes, it's now 4 minutes plus or minus 4 minutes, and a lot more variables. At Redzone, we say that people are a lot more like cats than washing machines. A washing machine, if you push a button, it will do what you tell it to do. But a cat, if you pet one on the head, the next cat might act completely different. And when you're dealing with humans, you can't just get a big Excel sheet and prescribe this is how we're going to do things. You have to have a little bit more of that treat them like cats mentality.
That is interesting. It sounds a little bit like, y'all's product kind of helps, you're gaming the humans. It's not just the product itself. You're trying to make the whole plant work with the people inside it.
Absolutely. That's really the name of the game is we gamify, we make it fun. We tell everybody the score. And we really think that everyone wants to do a great job. So the number one thing we do is implement what we call the visual factory. So big old TVs, some companies even have a Jumbotron and just show the score.
Yeah.
So with a couple simple lasers and a very simple view of your manufacturing site, how many widgets are we outputting versus how many do we want to be? We can give you a red, yellow, green, how are we doing? And now everyone's kind of looking at that score. And then next we can say, how's line 7 doing versus line 8? And then we can put who's the operator of line 7 versus line 8. And all of a sudden, if line 7's going up and you're the operator of line 8, you want to figure out what you can do to create a few more widgets. And then the collaboration, the help needed, it really all comes together to make a great team environment.
That is awesome. When you guys go into a new, you basically have a new customer, you're going into a new plant. Talk a little bit about some of those, some of the initial challenges, because I imagine, working with a new group of people, you got a new system. There's a little bit of you may even have some pushback. I don't know.
Absolutely. The change management is huge. And the really cool thing about Redzone is we're doing the exact same thing now that we did 10 years ago.
Oh, wow.
It's a very simple, quick, comparatively to other software. It's a very quick change management. Yeah. All we're going to do is get that minimum data, like I mentioned, ready to show the score of you having a red day or green day. We're going to do some very basic configurations. We're going to get iPads and TVs, things that you know how to hook up yourself.
Yeah.
And then we're going to launch. And we're going to talk to people. We're going to get their feedback. We're going to include your team, but we're not going to over-engineer. We're not going to spend 12 months line iteming every product and getting exactly down to the second, what that detail is. People do need to do the engineering work and that detailed work, but what we're doing is just enabling teams and enabling collaboration. So we keep it simple. We just stick to the vital few things that a manufacturing site needs to enable its people. Yeah. And boom, it takes off quickly. You show up with some iPads and T-shirts and get the right people on board, and before you know it, you've got change happening.
I mean, it sounds like it's a fun place to work now.
Absolutely.
Like the whole culture goes from showing up to work to showing up for the team and the competition and all that stuff.
No doubt. It's hard work, and you've got to kind of, we call it hand-to-hand combat. You got to go there and just deal with that pushback.
Yeah.
Every site's got someone who does not want to touch an iPad or someone that has an Excel sheet. They spend a lot of time on keeping the score, and they don't want someone else to keep score a slightly different way.
Right.
So you just go to those people, and sometimes they have great feedback. Hey, whoever designed my environment in the iPad app didn't do a good job. Great, let's get that feedback. Let's make a few changes real time, and now you've got that person on board. The neat thing about pushback and change management is I found over my career, typically the people that push back and fight you tooth and nail in the beginning are your cheerleaders in the end.
Oh, wow.
Because really what they want is what's best for their factory.
Yep.
And I remind my employees and colleagues all the time that, just because we know how awesome Redzone is doesn't mean this manufacturing site it does.
Yeah.
They may have used lots of terrible software that was implemented terribly, and they've been through a lot of pain, and they think we're the new flavor of the month.
Right.
And until we can show them differently, we have to give them space, and keep telling them the message that, hey, this is a tool for you, and then just show them. And then once it happens, it's just up to the team, and it's amazing how often and reliably it happens.
And it's probably, easy for even you guys to see the impact it's having since you've got scoreboards and you get to feel the vibe in the room just with all the, the culture shifts. So that must be is a rewarding side of the job.
Absolutely. And we've talked about a lot about the workforce collaboration, and we see reduction in turnover. Like the numbers are tangible.
Yeah.
I don't want to start spouting numbers. Our sales team and websites has lots of numbers and one pagers,
Yeah.
but there's a tangible drop in turnover, which is just outshadowed anything we could have done as far as productivity. And the funny part is we started off as the Redzone Production system,
Yeah.
and we do get 20 to 40% productivity output.
Wow.
Which means we say you can do 5 days of work in 4 days when you get that big of an uplift. And sites are saying, yes, that's great. We're making so much more money. But let me tell you about what it's doing for our people. That's really what's changing our world is we're making a little more money now,
Yeah.
but we're also building a culture for the future because we're all here manufacturing as a team and people want to be part of our team.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And who's like an ideal customer? Like, so there's got to be a lot of different people in the marketplace that would be ideal, but.
Sure, absolutely. Right now, it's everyone that manufactures something. So if you manufacture and you have a team that needs to work together to produce output,
Yeah.
we are a great fit. We're customizable, 4 modules, productivity, and then compliance, which is paperless quality checks and operator checks. That is changing the world for a lot of people. We are our CFR part. We are compliant. We can help you with whatever, all the different, we have lots of different compliance systems, but digitizing your quality and compliance program really changes a manufacturing site. And now we have learning module, reliability to help with maintenance. So we have a solution for everything. But like I said, we start simple.
Yeah.
We help your team work together and amazing things happen. We did start and we are, most of our customers are in the food and bev industry. One of our first customers was McIntyre Produce right here in Columbia.
Oh, cool.
And still a customer using all 4 modules now. Great customer producing different vegetables for a lot of different companies around here.
Yeah.
But great customer, great team. I've gotten to go over there several times. But it's always fun to see South Carolinians joining that.
So you guys are going beyond the borders of South Carolina, across the country.
Oh, we've been across the country. We're around the world. We're in all the biggest. Purina was a big implementation that I did across the U.S.
Wow.
We're all over Europe. We have a separate European team. We're now in China. We were all a little nervous, but all the communication and everything's happening in China, Asia, South America.
Yeah.
We're in Colombia, Mexico, so around the world.
Very exciting stuff. You've spoken a lot about your professional side. I know you're a busy man. You travel. You're juggling a family, et cetera. So how do you kind of stay grounded?
Just trying to kind of, I guess, stay focused and on a kind of a week-by-week basis. It's I always try to remember what I can and can't control. So that locus of control. Sometimes you get pretty excited and you start having big dreams, as we're talking about, kind of looking back and looking forward. But it's just kind of eating the elephant one bite at a time and handling what you can control.
And to extend on that, I know you're an outdoorsman,
Sure.
Fly fishing, deer hunting. How does that help in the space of kind of staying grounded? And
Absolutely. I think, we a lot of, what we do when we're designing systems, is kind of looking at nature. I think, and thinking of how flow, we have a saying, flow is king.
yeah.
And we're talking about manufacturing flow and industrial engineering and tack time and lean manufacturing. But then when you go out to a river, there's just analogies everywhere. And I do think a big part of just kind of staying well-rounded and having that motivation to work hard and accomplish things is going out and just enjoying yourself, enjoying nature, going and challenging yourself to catch a fish. And it might not be the most efficient use of your time, but those 4 hours where you were just focused on what fly and what part of the river and what color, that focus and taking your mind away from the day-to-day, it's amazing how good you'll feel when you go back to work and just feel reinvigorated.
Awesome. I can relate to that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Somebody who's thinking about going to Clemson, interested in engineering, would you give them any advice about or any insight into the journey that's ahead?
Ooh, I'd say Clemson engineering. Really anywhere. I'd say, stay open minded for opportunities.
Yeah.
And remember that whatever opportunity you have doesn't mean it has to be the rest of your life.
Right.
That if something looks really fun and you want to do something for a few months or a few years, I'd really encourage. I think especially now, even in the last couple decades since I was at Clemson, the world is changing where. I think people should be trying different things and dabbling around that. I'm actually in my second stint at Redzone. I was with Redzone for the first year and then went and did some other things and came back and went and did a lot of different things in my 20s.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be more of the norm, that everybody hops around. So I would just encourage you to follow things that interest you now and look for mentors. If you look up to someone and you respect what someone's doing and there's a spot for you on their team, even if it's not the exact role you want to play, I would say join that team. Look for good teams and good mentors, and then just figure out what role you want to play. And even if the role you want's not open, I'd say, find good teams and you'll end up with good situations and in a good place.
That's awesome. Wise words. Do you guys have does Redzone have an Instagram or a Facebook?
We don't have an Instagram yet. That's
How do we
in
find
work
you
and
guys?
being discussed. LinkedIn. We are all over LinkedIn. And of course the internet. We've got just our regular website.
Yeah.
We're in manufacturers, like I said, across the country. We're doing road shows. We're going to be at Pack Expo in Vegas doing a community awards later this year. So there's just a lot of different ways to interact with us. If you're in the manufacturing world, reach out. We probably have a manufacturer near you, maybe someone and have connections with that's already using Redzone. So a lot of people in the Redzone community, even competitors sometimes, we're even surprised at the tips and tricks that they're sharing. And it's kind of, there's plenty for everybody.
Yeah.
So it's been fun.
Heck yeah, awesome. Well, hey, thanks for coming and hanging out today, Sam.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Hey everyone, many thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, give us a follow and click the bell to stay up to date on future episodes, or click the link to watch another previous episode. Also, don't forget to like, share, and please leave us a comment. We'd love to hear your feedback.